This video will be about the differences between science and pseudoscience. The first thing to do is define both main words. Science, as we know, is one of the most important subjects we must learn at high school. It is what everyone experiences at every moment in our life. It is also a body of knowledge and a process we should follow to understand how life works. A complete definition will be that sciences is the concerted human effort to understand or to understand better the history of the natural world and how the natural world works, with observable physical evidence as the basis of that understanding. On the other side, the pseudoscience is a belief or process which masquerades as science in an attempt to claim a legitimacy which it will not otherwise be able to achieve on its own terms. It is often known as fringe or alternative science. The most important of its defects is usually the lack of the carefully controlled and thoughtfully interpreted experiments which provide the foundation of the natural sciences and which contribute to their advancement.
For the science, the principal characteristics are: it's not democratic. Scientific ideas are subject to scrutiny from near and far, but nobody ever takes a vote. If the question of plate tectonics had been decided democratically when it was first presented in the early 20th century, we would today have no explanation for the regions of much Earth's terrain. Scientific ideas are accepted or rejected instead on the basis of evidence. Science is non-dogmatic. Nothing in the scientific enterprise or literature requires belief. To ask someone to accept ideas purely on faith, even when the ideas are expressed by experts, is unscientific. While science must make some assumptions, such as the idea that we can trust our senses, explanations and conclusions are accepted only to the degree that they will feel founded and continue to stand up to scrutiny. Science cannot make moral and aesthetic decisions. Scientists can infer the relationship of flowering plants from the anatomy, DNA, and fossils, but they cannot scientifically assert that a rose is prettier than a daisy. Being human, scientists make moral and aesthetic judgments and choices, as do all citizens of our planet, but such decisions are not part of science. On the other hand, the main characteristics of pseudoscience are: use of misleading language, creating scientific sounding terms to persuade non-experts to believe the statements that may be false or meaningless. For example, a long-standing oak refers to the water by the rarely used formal name dihydrogen monoxide and describe it as the main constituent in most poisonous solutions to show how easily the general public can be misled. Lack of openness to testing by other experts. Some proponents of ideas that contradict accepted scientific theories avoid subjecting their ideas to peer review, sometimes on the grounds that peer review is based towards establishment of paradigms, and sometimes on the ground that their assertions cannot be evaluated adequately using standard scientific methods. At the end, we have the personalization of issues. Tight social groups and authoritarian personality, suppression of dissent, and group thinking can enhance the adoption of beliefs that have no rational basis. In attempting to confirm their beliefs, the group tends to identify their critics as enemies.
TOK defines pseudoscience as a false science because it lacks of experimentation. Also, the pseudoscience is based in cultural and ideological goals. For example, the astrology says that the movement and some characteristics of planets and stars affects the human's life. But astrology doesn't explain how the method of the planet can affect our behavior. Why the biology through endocrine system can explain how the brain secretes hormones and substances that simulate our behavior and emotions. Why it's important to differ the pseudoscience of science. Pseudoscience removes the human's critical judgment because the pseudoscience statements don't leave space to doubts about their statement. Also, the people use pseudoscience to obtain economic benefits. They take advantage of the human necessity to answer all his doubts. For example, the people that believe in tarot, they pay big amount of money to these riddles that they are not the reality. They only are the prepositions that the people want to hear.
With this work, we were able to learn more about the world of science and experimentation, and we can also understand that from a simple hypothesis, great truth can be deduced, so that the purpose of what is called a work can be better understood as scientist who is nothing other than explaining reality through reasoned argument and a constructed with reality, that is, experience. We can also understand science not as something static, but on the contrary, it is always constantly changed, but with a slower pace, that of society in general. Science teaches basically to understand the world, but from my point of view, there will never be an absolute truth, because it is proven that they do not exist an absolutely true science. Things are never how we see them, or how we investigate it, neither. Because by much technology that we possess, we cannot yet see things as they are, since the enigmas of life are many are varied. The only thing we can get is to understand them a little more and get closer to the truth.